Hey there. So, in the category of you can always learn something new, I learned about lard making this year. I've been rendering lard for years, and I learned about purifying fats this year from my daughter. I want to show you a little bit about how I'm doing it and what I've got going on here, because I happen to have a first render and a second render here. I've learned too that there's differences between lard and tallow when you're clarifying and purifying them. So I'm going to show you lard here a minute. This is my pan of first render. You can see it's got a lot of bubbles going. Looks to me like it's cooling off a little bit. I need to stir it, and then those bubbles will go away. That's simply water that's releasing out of the pieces of fat. There's protein down on the bottom. Yeah, right there's a big old piece. We're just going to pull that out. This is back fat, so there's more protein in it. If it was leaf lard, there would be none. So that's okay. So we're just separating the fat, the water, and the protein in this pan. I did not start this with water in the pan. I hear that from a lot of people. I guess apparently in talking to a couple other people, sometimes if you're doing it with a, what do you call it? Crock pot, you might need it because you can't start on a low enough heat. But I started this with just a low heat. You can see all that water coming up there. Look at that. And the protein is still coming up and floating. So I know it's not done yet. But I started this on a medium low heat. Added some fat, got that soft and mushy and glassy looking. Then you can double it and add more. And you just keep exponentially adding, and you don't have to add water because that really slows your process down, but it will also keep it from scorching, I'm told. So, but at any rate, you don't need to. This pan, I reheated. This I actually rendered a week or so ago, and it's just been hanging out. So I decided I was going to put it in jars. I reheated it. You can see the reflection in it. It's so clear. It was surprising to me how much water was still in it, even though I had completely rendered it so that there wasn't any. Trying to get so there's no shine. And strained it. There aren't any chunks in it, really. Just got some more water out of it. So now it's good. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in hot jars, clean jars. And they will seal right down, fill it up to the top, they'll seal right down. And then I can store it in my root cellar and it'll be fine. The thing I learned about the difference between lard and tallow is I tried doing the water method of purifying the lard, and I discovered that it didn't pull out nearly as much stuff as it did out of the tallow. And it was a lot harder to separate. I ended up just doing this dry second render anyway because so much water was still on the outside of my lard and it just didn't work as good. So what I have done after that is just put it in a pan. I strain it from the first render right into a pan and then let it cool, and then I'll heat it again for a second render and let all of that, any remaining water, any remaining protein that might have snuck through the cheesecloth or something, it happens. Accidents happen. And then it's ready to go. Tallow, I personally like doing tallow the same way, but it takes a couple of times. Tallow, it just holds a lot more stuff, even rendered the first render the same way as the lard. So that's been my experience with learning something new, with rendering and purifying lard and tallow. The other interesting thing I found as I'm thinking through is that the lard didn't change the color and smell nearly as much as the tallow did, which was interesting to me. the tallow the lard just got a really nice clean render the first time around, a little bit better second time around, and then it's good to go. Tallow benefited with 2 cleaning renders, if you want to call them that, 2 purification rounds. It's a lot lighter smelling, it smells cleaner, feels nicer. So that's lessons from the kitchen on rendering lard and tallow, and that's it. Jill coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Have a great and abundant day.